Hey guys, this is Doc Hoffpauir coming to you from my studio here in Alvin, Texas. Today, I have a very special guest who's going to help you guys to save some money without changing a thing. Hear me out. You won't have to change a thing in your practice, but we're going to save you some money. That's like found money. Hey folks, welcome to the Dear Doc podcast, where we discuss the practical aspects of running your dental practice, as well as the technology, softwares, and services that can help to empower you as a dentist. I'm your host, Doc Hoffpauir. Thanks for joining us for today's episode. Before we get into today's program, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about one of our sponsors, DocSites. DocSites provides affordable and effective websites for dentists with no long-term contracts, transparent pricing, and great customer service starting at only $59 per month. They also provide optional online marketing packages to help you increase your online visibility. For special offers, including up to 25% off of your website setup, text podcast to 818-489-9823. Again, that's 818-489-9823. Now, this is a limited time offer, so text now and lock in your savings. Or you can visit docsites.com/TBOD for more information. Matt, how the heck are you?
I'm good, Chris. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So guys, Matt Redge is from a company that specializes in cust cutting for doctors by negotiating fees with merchant services. Matt, tell me a little bit, like a 500-foot view of exactly what it is your company does.
Yeah, so the easiest way to put it is we are a cost reduction company, and our main focus is to help dental practices reduce and eliminate the credit card processing fees that they pay without the hassle of making any changes whatsoever. So you keep your same software, you keep your same equipment, keep your same bank or your processing company, nothing changes. Our job is to help you reduce that cost down to the bottom line to where you as a practice would pay the same as like a big box retailer, some of the larger corporations here in the States. That is our focus, that is our goal, that is a very, very high level bird's eye view of what our focus is and what we do for our clients.
Fantastic. You know, I know that one of the big things, everyone wants to save money, but to be very honest with you, one of the big things that keeps us from doing something new in our practice is just the flashback that we're going to get from our team members. You know, they don't want to have to change everything that they do. They don't want to have to change, you know, the PMS or the merchants or whatever. They're happy with the way things are. And in some cases, honestly, if you change the merchant service, it no longer integrates with Dentrix or, you know, CareStack or Open Dental or EagleSoft, whatever you're using. But in this case, since we're not really changing anything, we're just paying less, you know, that kind of works out. And so, you know, one of the questions a lot of people are going to have is, well, Matt, how much are you going to charge me to take a look to see if you can help me?
So for our services, it's a free consultation, right? We want to talk to you. We want to understand your payment landscape, as we call it. We want to understand if you have a practice management software like Open Dental, Dentrix, whatever. How are you guys taking cards? That gives us an understanding of how you're doing things at the practice. But in addition to that, we can look similar to like how another credit card processing company would come in. They want to look at like your last 3 months worth of processing fees, right? To do a free analysis to see what do you guys price that currently, how many bogus charges are on your account, what can be alleviated, what can be reduced, right? We go through it with a fine-tooth comb, looking for those miscellaneous fees, billing errors, or rates that we can reduce, right? And that's obviously free. That's to give us and you as the client understanding of, okay, well, what do the savings look like for my business, right? We want to make sure that it's beneficial for you guys and us at the same time. If the savings are minimal on this free consultation, let's just say there's a monthly fee in your statement that we can reduce, but that's really it. We'll tell you, you know, hey, there's a $10 monthly fee that you guys can alleviate in your own. You don't have to hire us to do that, right? It's so that you can just essentially get the best deal possible. Our job is to help you get there if necessary, right? That's the goal. So the consultation's free. We look at your last 3 months of statements. If you only have a couple, that's fine too, but we just like to take your last quarter. And then we'll go over it with you so you have an understanding of what the savings look like, if any, and what the next steps would be.
You know, in my show prep, whenever I do these things, I always kind of look up your LinkedIn and this and that and the other to kind of get a feel for who it is I'm going to be interviewing. Now, one of the things that came up was Matt exposes the underbelly of credit. Talk to me a little bit about some of these unethical practices and just plain cash grabs that a lot of the merchant services out there are perpetrating on my dentist out here. And by the way,
Yeah,
guys,
for sure.
before Matt does answer that question, or while he's answering that question, if you have any questions yourselves, go ahead and drop them down in the comment section down below, and we'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry for interrupting.
Sure. No worries at all. So, I mean, the biggest thing with payments, what dentists need to understand is, as a sales rep on the other side, if you're selling credit card processing, your job is to set the rate as high as possible, because the higher the rate goes, the more commission you make as a sales rep, right? So it doesn't align with you, the dentist, that you're trying to get the service, but at the lowest overall cost. That's what everyone's trying to do when they're talking to their vendors, suppliers, whatever. And the issue is in addition to credit card processing companies telling you or making it sound like you're going to get a good deal, there's so many smoke and mirrors within the payment industry that a lot of people just aren't familiar with, because it's so difficult to understand. Any dentist would probably tell you, if you look at your credit card processing statement, or even an office manager, they're going to say, this is like reading a different language, right? It's very difficult to decipher. It's very difficult to understand which fees are true, which fees can be modified or reduced, right? And because of that, it's just frustrating. If you're a single practice dentist, let's just say, and it's only you have 100 other things that you need to do: payroll, inventory, other expenses. There's other things. This is just one area of focus that you need to look at. And if you don't know how to handle it, it can be super frustrating. And a lot of times it gets put to the wayside, right? In addition to, you're always getting solicited from credit card processing companies, whether they're coming into your office, whether they're calling you, you see them at a conference, whatever it may be. And this all leads me into the deceptiveness, which gets to the different fees that we'll talk about, right? But there's so much going on with it. And for us, we know where they're overcharging you and how much, right? That's a ton of industry knowledge that we bring to our cost-cutting services. In addition to, we have hundreds of thousands of statements and data points that say, based on your practice, the amount of cards that you accept, how you accept the cards, the different card brands, right? Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. That all plays a factor into when we are negotiating the contract with your existing processing company, which a lot of people don't get. We get the question asked all the time, Matt, why can't I just do this on my own? And the short answer is you could, but the long-winded part of that is that if you shoot yourself in the foot and your processing company only throws you whatever, let's just say $50 a month in cost savings because you did it on your own, that's great. But if you knew that there was $1,000 extra that you could have saved, right, you would probably be a little upset. Like, I only got $50 in cost savings. And they do that for a reason, because they'll throw you a bone to get off their back, show you that you're a loyal customer, put that in air quotes, right? And then continue on their way. But you didn't get the savings that you probably could have. So for us, some of the fees that you as dentists should look out for, just so you have an understanding, is your PCI compliance fees, monthly miscellaneous costs that pop up on your statement. We call those auto enrollment fees, right? So you will probably have a monthly fee, $10 to $20. But a lot of times what these processing companies do is just added profit for them is they'll throw in CE Intelligence Suite, the Intelligence Suite fee, or some type of what they're calling a value add to your practice that you don't even know exists, but they're charging you $45 a month for, right? So those are just little things. But we're going in a deep dive, going through the statement, looking for, okay, there's interchange fees, not to get too technical, you can't do anything about. Then you have the processing company's markup that you can do something about. Where are they marking up their costs? In addition to all of that, there's 7 different pricing structures within credit card processing. And a lot of times the sales reps that walk into your office or are calling you are pitching you a pricing structure that's going to make them the most commission, and it's not cost effective for your business. And understanding that is super difficult, because you as the doctor, you hear, 1.8%, that sounds great. I'm paying under 2%. What they
Right.
didn't tell you is that there's other fees involved, right? Or it's a teaser rate where you're going to get this rate 6 months, and then just like the cable industries, right? We're here in the Northeast, so Verizon,
Right.
Comcast, you get the contract for a year, and then month 13th, the rates raise significantly. You know what I mean? So it's the same concept in credit card processing, except I think it's magnified probably 10x because of all the different fees involved. That's the long-winded answer to your question, some of the fees that we're looking for, right, Chris? But this is what we help doctors do to eliminate and reduce the cost.
So if I got one of my doctors out there and they've got their bill and it's sitting in front of them, I want you to give me the top 5 made up names for fictitious fees that they're going to find so they can scan their bill and just know if they're getting ripped off instantly so they can give you guys a call to help them fix it.
So the biggest thing is PCI compliance fees. So whether it says a non-PCI compliance fee, which means you are not compliant with taking credit cards the way they want you to, then you also have PCI compliance charges, which can vary. So those are 2 separate fees. Both one being charged, they would both be charged to you. And if you're not compliant, you'll have the non-compliance fee hit there too. So those are 2 things that you can look for. Your monthly costs. So the names of those fees can range. It's not universal across all credit card processing companies. So what one company calls their monthly fee, the next guy down the road is going to call it something completely different.
Right.
And it's just a padded markup, right? So look at your other costs when you're looking at the statement. It's usually towards the bottom that you can see. The other fees that you can look out for are your percentage rate, also called a discount rate in some instances, also called a base rate in some instances. Then you have a per item fee, also known as a per transaction fee, also known as an authorization fee. And the confusing thing about that is that an authorization fee and a per item fee can be the same thing, but they can also be 2 completely separate things. And that really gets into the weeds a bit. But in short, you could have 2 separate fees per transaction every time you swipe a card at your office or you take the card over the phone from a patient. And I would say those are probably like the biggest things that you want to look out for. So I know that's not really like top 5, but I think that's like 3 or 4 that people can look at. That's going to be the blunt of the cost, right? That they can look at their statement.
Well, I know that right now there's a lot of movement in the area of charging patients for a convenience fee or something like that. And I know that it's legal to do in certain ways and illegal to do if you do it in other ways. So if I remember correctly, you have to call it a convenience fee if you want to pass that charge off. You can't, like, I guess, be honest about exactly what you're recouping. And it has to be the same for each person. It can't be based upon the card, right? Can you do me a favor? Cover those laws real quick, because it almost seems, Matt, that we're being held more accountable than the credit card companies. You know, they don't even have standardization of their terms, you know? So talk to us a little bit about that. And that'll definitely help some doctors out. Plus, guys, Matt's going to teach you how to do this correctly so that you don't get into trouble for it. And, you know, maybe you should call him to reduce your rates too. Nobody likes those damn credit card companies.
Yeah, the surcharging thing is, it's coming along, but there's a lot to unpack, a lot. And I'll try to do my best so that we'll keep it very high level. Surcharging, so there's something called cash discount, whereas if you came into, your practice, I'm a patient, you would give me a discount on the service or products being sold if I paid you in cash. If I didn't pay you in cash, you could then assess percentage rate passed along to me, so you wouldn't be charged credit card processing fees. You see that at gas stations a lot of the times. There's a cash rate, credit card rate, whatever. Then you have surcharging, which is really what you're referring to, where if someone wants to pay with a credit card, there's no discount if they decide to pay with cash. You're just saying, hey, if you're using a credit card, I'm going to assess an X% charge on you, almost as like an additional tax, right? That's how you have to look at it. And the whole background behind it is like, everyone likes their frequent flyer miles, their rewards points, their cash back. Businesses are paying for that stuff, right? So your dental practice is paying for your patient's cash back program, right? Or frequent flyer miles. And everyone has one, including probably dental practice owners. You know what I mean? I have one,
Absolutely.
you have one. It's just how it is. The card brands don't like the surcharging that's going on. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, they don't like it. Simply because it deters customers from using credit card payments.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they want you to do that. Exactly. They want you to do that, because if they don't use it, then businesses aren't paying for those rewards programs, and that people aren't getting the value of their credit card, etc. Plus, they want you to spend on their credit card, because if you don't make the monthly payments, they charge you interest. It's the whole thing, right? That aside, there's 2 states that you cannot do surcharging. You can't do it in Massachusetts. You can't do it in Connecticut. It's completely illegal.
Okay.
There's some states that have, I'll put it in the yellow category, where you can do it, but there's limitations. And then you have states where it's, go ahead and do it, right? But there are a lot of regulations. And if you do not follow the rules, you will be fined. And up and actually until this year, the rules have been loose. There have been a lot of gray areas. The card brands haven't been stingy as like issuing fines to merchants who are not doing it correctly. So if your dental practice is doing it and you're doing it incorrectly, I would get with your rep or whoever you signed up with to make sure that you are doing it the completely right way. Otherwise, the fines can be pretty heavy.
Right.
And that's just something you don't want to deal with. It's another headache. And just some high-level rules to the surcharging, right? You can't surcharge more than 3%. So if you're doing anything over 3%, drop it down to 3%, because that's the max that you can do. You can only do it on credit card transactions. So you cannot do it on debit card transactions. Someone pays with a debit card.
I think that's one that people miss. They don't understand that.
Yeah. And the signage that you have to have at your office, there's specific rules for that as well. Like, you have to have a big sign right where you're going to be taking the payment, saying that there's going to be a 3% surcharge assessed, blah 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 blah. Absolutely. If you're not following all that stuff, it just takes one bad, I don't say bad apple, but someone who works for Visa come in, see if you're doing it correctly, because they have a list. You're supposed to register with Visa, MasterCard, or a pissed off employee. Yeah, who goes and calls Visa on your about the practice. So just be careful, right? And a lot of things that's also going on with it is, like, if you have a practice management software, Dentrix, Open Dental, a lot of the times those terminals that you're using that integrate with the software don't have it downloaded to where the surcharging is doing it correctly or doing it automatically. Mm-hmm. So if you're just saying, hey, we're going to assess you a 3% surcharge, and you're using Dentrix and it auto-populates to whatever, the general ledger, however it does the patient chart, surcharging doesn't work with that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's also another hurdle you as a dentist have to understand. It's different.
So you're paying for the convenience of having it integrate directly with Dentrix by giving up the ability to do surcharges automatically.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And like, here's the other thing. These sales reps that come in and pitch this to you love it because they make a ton of money versus, you or us trying to negotiate the best contract, right? Where they're just making $50 a month of the account, whatever. They like it because there's a larger chunk of spread or percentage that they get from you assessing the fee onto the patient that they're taking. You know what I mean? And because of that, I don't think that they explain all the time properly how to do it the correct way, which leaves you, the business owner, susceptible to whatever, fines, lawsuits, etc. So if you want more info, you can have your listeners reach out. I'm happy to give them, like, to the penny, how the rules and regulations are supposed to be so they can follow it if they're doing it. But just be wary of that, for all the people that are listening.
So, guys, the takeaway there is the thing that is legal in all 50 states is a cash discount. It is not illegal anywhere to offer a cash discount. You have to offer that to both your insurance and non-insurance patients so you don't run afoul of your insurance contracts. So make sure you're doing that. But just bump your prices up by 3% across the board. This year, instead of going 8%, go 11%, and then you've got it automatically covered. And then from then on, you're fine.
It's that's a big thing too. We say that, like, if you're gonna do it because you don't want to pay the fees, just build it into your current costs. Anyways, it's the same. It's the same thing at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And it doesn't upset maybe your patient saying, oh, you're really going to charge me this 3% extra fee. Let's just say braces are, whatever, a cleaning copay, $30, no problem. But if it's a larger surgery that you're doing and it's a $5,000 surgery and you're going to charge them 3%, that's a lot of money that a patient's going to be like, wow, this is not what I expected. You know what I mean?
Well, and one of the arguments that dentists will make is that, well, if I just raise all my prices by 3%, I'm actually paying more. And technically they're right, because they're going to end up paying taxes on more income, more generated income in their practice. But the truth of the matter is, just for the convenience that offers and the legal protection that it offers, where you can't screw something up because one of your employees isn't doing it right, I think it makes a lot of sense. And at least you're not losing as much as if you did nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a lot of the states actually started allowing this about 3 or 4 years ago, because the states themselves were getting raked over the coals in their fees for transactions online. And that's whenever they came up with the convenience fee doctrine, which I think 100% of the states currently use. Even those states that don't pass that ability on to their residents use that. So just to give you guys kind of a heads up of where all this stuff came from.
Search engine optimization, or SEO, is a hallmark of an exceptionally visible website. Here at Art of Dental Marketing, we know that it's crucial. It bumps you up to the top of Google search results and more. But did you know that it's also one of the only online marketing channels that can continue to pay dividends over time? At ADM, we expertly craft your online presence to help you evolve with modern marketing. For more information, search artofdentalmarketing.com or call us at 816-631-0954.
But guys, I'm here again with Matt Reg. Matt can save you money, and it will cost you nothing, no effort other than picking up the phone. And let's be honest, your office manager and your front desk are going to love Matt because, well, he's going to save you money and you're going to buy them nice things, right? Give them a bonus if they can save you over X%.
That's right.
It's a no-brainer.
That's right. I mean, if your office manager is handling this for you, right, then you don't want to throw another thing on his or her plate. It's the last thing you want to do. They help run your practice. If it's a practice manager, office manager, it's the same thing. They're super crucial in making things go on a day-to-day basis. But if you are the dentist and you're the business owner, if you could save, there's practices we're saving $30,000, $40,000 a year, and that's just going back into their pocket. That pays for someone's salary. You can buy your office manager something nice, give him or her a nice vacation or a day off, whatever it may be, because of the extra cost savings that you get to have. And it's just good business practice, right? Look at your profit and loss, look at all the different areas. We'll educate your practice manager too, so he or she is equipped to keep phone calls of solicitors away from you guys to understand if you have good pricing or not, right? Like, this is just another tool that can go in his or her toolbox of the business operations, right? Like, this is stuff that they're looking at. And it's not having to change anything is so simple. Huge. Where we handle it all for you. Your office manager sends the statements. That's step one. We look at it. If we can achieve savings, we have a conversation with your office manager or you to say, hey, this is what the savings look like. Do you want to move forward? And if you do, that's it. We take care of the rest. Contact your payment processing company, your bank, whoever you're using. Your office manager does not have to allocate any additional time to this, as far as having to oversee it or having to be on the phone calls or anything like that. The initial consultation, do you want to move forward? Our team handles the negotiations for you, and then you get the final results, typically within a month's time, of what the new pricing looks like, what the savings looks like, and nothing additional had to be added onto your office manager's plate. You know what I mean? Or your plate, for that matter, if you're doing this.
So one of the things that dentists are going to ask, because dentists are a suspicious lot by nature, sure. Mostly because they get beaten up by the dental tax from everybody, and anybody who says we're going to do this for you for free is suspect. You're obviously trying to rip them off somehow. So sure. Talk to us a little bit about how you get paid and how your company makes money, Matt.
Of course. So we're strictly based on a contingency-based model. We take a percentage of what we are successfully able to obtain your practice. That is it. There's no upfront costs. There's no monthly fees. There's no retainers or like hourly consulting wages. We do all the work up front. And only if we are successful in achieving your practice cost savings do we take a percentage of that. That is how we're compensated. And that's the beauty of it too, because if we don't find any cost savings, or even if you want to move forward with us and we negotiate with your provider and they won't offer cost savings, you owe us nothing. It's the same model as like a personal injury attorney, right? They take the case, they do all the work up front. Only if they win the case, right, they get a percentage of the proceeds. It's the same exact concept for us. In addition to that, like that's our compensation, right? In addition to that, we audit your account monthly to make sure that the rates we got for you stay in place.
They're not backing out without telling you, because they do that.
It's like all the time. Or they'll say they forgot to implement them. And you could go months without even seeing the new rates that were negotiated, and you wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? Because it's so deceptive and confusing. So our job is to audit the account and make sure that the pricing we got you stays in place. And if it changes, we take care of it for you. So like we take a lot of the PCI compliance fees for our clients. They don't know how to do it. They don't have time to allocate to it. Sure, no problem. We'll do that for you, right? And if, let's just say, 8 months down the road, you have to take your PCI compliance scan again because it's quarterly, we'll do that for you. But if you wanted to do it on your own and you forgot, and now you're being charged that non-compliance fee that we talked about earlier, we'll flag your account. We'll let you know, hey, Mrs. and Mrs. Doctor, you guys forgot to take this. It's charging you guys $70 a month. You can either have us do it, you do it, but you have peace of mind that someone's looking at this. Because keep in mind, like, selfishly, we want to lower the rate as much as possible because we're compensated by taking percentage of it, right? So there's no reason for us to leave any low-hanging fruit or leave any fees that we could take off your account or negotiate off your account because it hurts us too. We're aligned, guys, with the debt.
Let's look at that again. They get a percentage of what they've reduced your rate by. They don't get a percentage of what your rate currently is. So
so let's use an example.
It's against their best interest. It's against your best interest to allow that rate to go up again. So these guys are going to be fighting for you in your corner every month. I mean, how much would you have to pay an employee to do that? And would they be even good at it? You know, so I urge you guys to go ahead and check them out. You can give Matt a call. I've got the link to my my page for their company on Dockhoff Investments. It's down, or actually it's above us in the description of this video. Please click the link, schedule a consultation. It's going to cost you nothing, and it very likely is going to save you a lot of money and a lot of headache if you would try to do this yourself.
I would say the typical cost savings for a dental practice is around 28% of the total fees that you pay today. So if you looked at your statement and you're paying $3,000 in fees per month, if you were to lower that by 28%, that's a decent indication of what you can expect as cost savings for your practice. So it's almost a third, right? And whatever that dollar amount comes out to be, that's going to be relative to your sales, your current pricing, what we can get it down to. And for the dentist to know this too, every month, we'll send you a savings report, and it will show where specifically on the statement we are saving you money and how much. And the savings are based upon your current pricing. So when we do that initial 3-month audit, look at what you're currently paying and if we can save you money. If we're able to save you money, great. We send you that report, and it showcases each individual fee on your credit card processing statement that we were able to modify and reduce. And that savings report, you could line up next to your merchant statement every month and say, okay, I was paying a monthly fee of $45. They got that removed. So now I'm paying $0. That's a $45 savings. You know what I mean? That's just one example, but all of them will be listed out, very transparent. It's proving to you every month where the savings are actually coming from, right? Not just like, hey, Matt, how do I know you guys are saving money? Where can I see that the savings is coming from? That's why we send that report to you.
It may just be the min-maxer in me, but it just occurred to me that if you guys actually combine getting Matt's help with getting your surcharge stuff put into place to make sure you're doing it legally, along with using Matt's services, not only are you going to save a good chunk of money every month, you'll actually be making money out of thin air because you're going to be being reimbursed by the patient for the merchant fees. And if you choose to pass something like that on to someone, and that's fine. But if you want to make money off of it, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it?
The spread would get bigger, to your point, yes. So like if you're passing 3% on to your patients now, and currently your underlying credit card processing fees go at 2.8% all in, right? Total fees divided by total sales. Right. If we're able to reduce that 2.8% down to 2%, yes, you just made the difference in the spread. That is something that a lot of people do. I don't have an opinion on it one way or the other. That's usually the practice. You can decide what you want to do, but that in theory, yes, is something we can definitely look at.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Matt, tell them who you're with again.
So the company's Merchant Cost Consulting. We're based out of Boston, Mass. Help a ton of dental practice and orthodontic practices, for that matter, all over the country and Canada. We get asked that question a lot. So if you're listening to this and you're north of the border, we can absolutely help you out. Take a look at it. Doesn't matter if you're using a bank. Doesn't matter if you have a personal rep or an integrated processing company. We're obviously able to help you take a look.
Fantastic. Well, Matt, I'm gonna let you give them the last word. Give them your elevator pitch, and then we'll end this broadcast.
Sure. If you're looking to save 20% on your merchant fees every month without having to change a single thing that your practice does today, give us a call, shoot me an email. We can help you reduce the credit card processing fees without you having to make any changes whatsoever. Simple as that.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you for joining us here today. And Matt, thank you for coming on to the podcast as a guest. I would like to make sure we note right now that Matt's company is going to be a sponsor of TBOD. So I'll make sure that we have that little mark on the post so that everyone knows that, just in the interest of transparency. We want you guys to save money. Go ahead and contact Matt, get your free consultation. Thank you for being a member of the Business of Dentistry and a fan of the Dear Doc podcast.